More skill, more speed, all in the same set. There's one simple strategy that can make it happen. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. Too often, developing skills and developing fitness are approached separately. When that happens, it becomes more difficult to improve both skills and fitness. Any strategy that allows us to simply and effectively integrate both skill development and physiological development is going to be really powerful. In this video, we're going to take a look at a strategy that helps swimmers learn how to improve their stroke length, which is a key driver of long-term improvement, as well as develop their fitness all at the same time. Best of all, it's a strategy that can be used in just about any set. It's simple, it's easy, and it works. One of the biggest challenges that swimmers have is learning to manage the relationship between stroke rate and stroke length. Both are important for improvement, and swimmers have to find the optimal relationship between the two for them. The challenge in doing so is that the feedback swimmers tend to receive is not the best. What I mean by that is that in the short term, they often benefit from increasing their stroke rate. So if they want to swim faster right now by picking up the stroke rate, they can usually make that happen. But if they want to make progress over time, say a season, a year, or a career, they have to learn to improve their stroke length. And so the immediate feedback they get, which is going to be more powerful, is to increase stroke rate at the expense of stroke length, while in the long term, they're going to be best served by focusing on increasing stroke length. And so their instincts work against them. What works now actually can hurt long-term progress. And so we have to find strategies that reverse the feedback that they get to encourage them to use stroke length to create speed rather than just stroke rate. Because they don't get that feedback, they struggle to feel it. They don't have an intuitive sense that length actually does create speed, and therefore they struggle to make it happen. So again, if we can change the reward structure, we can change what they're expected to do in practice, and we can make improvements in length success rather than just improvements in rate, then we can change the behavior, and then we can get the long-term progress that we need for swimmers to continue to improve. So how do we do that? Simple. We have swimmers descend at the same stroke rate. It's a really simple concept. We give them a tempo trainer, we give them a set stroke rate, and then we just ask them to go faster over the course of several repetitions. And so here's why it's so effective. We're going to get faster swimming, obviously, because they're increasing the speed, but the key here is that we're also going to get better swimming. And the reason that's the case is because if their stroke rate is not changing, in order to go faster, they have to improve their stroke length. So like we just talked about, we just changed the reward structure to encourage swimmers to use length in order to create speed as opposed to rate. By removing the option to increase their stroke rate and still asking them to go faster, they have to figure out how to get longer in order to create that speed. And because they're descending, because they're going faster, that's going to further increase the physiological stress. And so this strategy is particularly effective in a training context. And so what's effective about this strategy is that it's objective. The numbers guide the process. And what I mean by that is that after every repetition, they're going to know if they stayed on the stroke rate, and they're going to know if they went faster. If they went faster, and they stayed on the stroke rate, they know that the strategies they're using are effective. And if they were unsuccessful, they know that they need to change. Either they couldn't stay on the stroke rate or they didn't go faster, so that they know they have to do something different in order to get better. So because of the design of the set, because of the demands of the strategy, they have to lock in on their skills if they want to continue to improve. And best of all, they're improving a skill that is, one, difficult to improve, but two, critical for long-term progress. In terms of optimizing the implementation of this strategy, it's important to consider the training contexts which are going to be most effective with this tool. So in endurance training, it's awesome because we're using relatively slow stroke rates. That gives them a big opportunity to create speed. That gives them a pretty wide window in order to find ways to go faster, and relatively small differences in skill can lead to pretty big differences in the overall times. With race training, it's a little bit tougher because there's going to be a lot more fatigue. The distances are going to be short and the efforts are going to be really high, and so it's a little bit tougher to descend. However, it can still be effective. The descends are just going to be a little bit tighter, and you're going to have to make sure swimmers have enough rest in order to execute those skills well and in order to continue to descend down. For speed training, it's also really effective because it encourages swimmers to figure out how to create more speed at the same stroke rate. And so typically when swimmers try to sprint, they just try to move their arms faster and faster versus trying to get longer and longer. And when this strategy is used in speed training, swimmers have to figure out how to get longer and longer in order to create more speed rather than just trying to pick up their rate. And that ultimately holds back a lot of swimmers, especially in the sprints. So we're directly addressing that skill with this strategy. We can also enhance the development of skill by combining this tool with other skill development strategies such as resistance, training aids, hand postures, drills. You can use it with all of these and it's going to enhance the outcomes of any of those tools. And so if they're using resistance and they have to descend at the same stroke rate, that means they have to figure out how to create more propulsion in order to create more speed. They have to overcome the resistance even more effectively to create more speed because they can't just pick up their stroke rate in order to make that happen. And the same applies to the other strategies. So this tool is really effective in and of itself. When used in the right context and when used with other skill development strategies, it becomes that much more effective. Now let's take a look at a couple sets to illustrate how this strategy can be applied. So this is a butterfly speed set. They're going to go 3 rounds through here. They're going to go 325s butterfly. They're going to descend 1 to 3 to fast at a 200 stroke rate. And then they're going to go 325s, descend 1 to 3 to fast at a 100 stroke rate. And then they're going to go 25 butterfly fast. They're going to keep the same kick count throughout so that they don't just create more speed by using more underwaters. So what we're trying to accomplish here is help swimmers learn how to create speed through length at relatively fast stroke rates. So the descends are going to be relatively tight. We're talking a couple tenths of a second each time. But if they remain on the stroke rate, those descends are a direct reflection of the increases in stroke length. And that's what we want to drive, especially at speed. And when using a 100 stroke rate rather than a 200 stroke rate, they should be able to go faster because they have access to more stroke rate, but they still are trying to descend at that stroke rate. And they're trying to figure out how can I get longer while still moving everything really quickly, and their ability to do that is going to be reflected in the time. That lets them know if what they tried to do was successful or if they need to try something different. This is a breaststroke set, and the goal is to try to help swimmers learn how to hold more water with their pull, their kick, and then put it together when they swim. So they're going to go 425s breaststroke with a dolphin kick. It's putting all the pressure on the upper body, and they're going to use a parachute, which is going to require them to create more propulsion. Then they're going to descend 1 to 4 at the same stroke rate, so they can't pick up the stroke rate to create speed, so they have to hold more water in order to go faster, and they have to hold more water with the upper body only, and they have to do that while overcoming the resistance created by the parachute. Then the next 425s are done the same way, except now instead of putting all the pressure on the upper body, all the pressure's on the lower body, and they have to hold water with the legs in order to create more speed. Then we're going to do the same thing, breaststroke. We're going to take the parachute off. They're going to descend 1 to 4 at the same stroke rate. They're going to try to put it all together. Again, they have to hold more water. They got to get bigger to go faster. They can't just move their arms faster. Then they're going to go 50 breaststroke. The first one, they're going to try to hit 200 speed. The second one, they're trying to go faster, and they're trying to make that as easy, as fluid, and as big as possible. So by using the drills, using the resistance, we're putting more pressure on the ability to hold a lot of water, to create a lot of propulsion with the upper body and the lower body, and then we're giving swimmers the chance to put it all together. This set is a backstroke set, and it's a aerobic set, and we're going to use the buoy to put more pressure on the upper body and help swimmers learn how to create speed with the upper body, how to hold water with the upper body, how to create stroke length with the upper body. So they're going to go 2 rounds through. They're going to start off with 3 150s, backstroke with a buoy. So the buoy, again, takes the legs out. They got to do it all with the upper body. They're going to descend 1 to 3 at the same stroke rate, so they have to get faster by creating more length, by holding more water with the arms. Then they're going to 100 backstroke solid effort, just try to apply those skills into their swim. Then they're going to go 3 100s backstroke with a buoy, again, descend 1 to 3 at the same stroke rate. They're going to use the same stroke rate as they do on the 150s, but they're trying to go faster as they descend through because the distance is shorter. Another 100 backstroke, this time it's a strong effort, trying to go faster than that first one, still executing those skills really well. Then they're going to go 350s backstroke with a buoy, again, descend 1 to 3 at the same stroke rate, but they're trying to go faster than they did on the hundreds because they have shorter distances now. Then they're going to go 100 backstroke to finish, stronger effort, be better than they were on the second one. Again, try to apply the same skills that they're learning during those buoy swims. Then they're going to repeat that a second round. You can use a faster stroke rate with the expectation that they go faster throughout all the swims. So they're still trying to work on the same skills. They're just doing it with a little bit more speed. For more on how to use stroke rate to help swimmers improve their skills and their fitness, check out the video below.